Perfect. Yeah, thank you, Kim, and thanks to everybody for having us here today. So, Chessa and I have both worked with Everactive Schools over for 5+ years, and we both had the great privilege to come and visit the Northwest Territories a couple years ago and did some physical literacy programming there. So we're going to share a little bit about that. And yeah, thanks for the introduction. I think we're a really good follow-up as well. Lee and Ken, the work of participation in that report card really does inform our programs and our professional learning for teachers. So hopefully we can give a little bit of a feel and give you an opportunity even to try out some of the resources and professional learning that we share with teachers and student leaders in school communities all around building physical literacy. I'll turn it to you, Chessa.
Thank you. So I just want to take a moment to acknowledge that I'm coming to you from the Canmore area, which is the ancestral lands of the Iarhe Nakota, and is traditionally known as Chiwap Chiwayen Kudibi, which translates to English as shooting at the willows. And the wider region of Treaty 7, also home to the Tsuut'ina First Nation and the Blackfoot Confederacy, which is comprised of the Siksika, Piikani, and Kainai First Nations, as well as Métis Nation of Alberta Region 3. I really want to express some gratitude right now for the teachings of land acknowledgements and the importance of connection to our land and how it connects us to one another. So this picture up on your screen is actually a picture from my visit up to Fort Providence a few years ago. And I was there in February, and obviously it was cold and the days were short. And I just relished my walk to and from the school every day, where I got to take in the beautiful view of this expansive river and expansive sky and the snow glittering everywhere. So thanks to Thorsten, who hosted me there and who took me on some hunts for northern lights and bison and showed me around town. Yeah, it was so great to experience that place and that community and the beauty of the land there.
Awesome. And this photo is from my visit, which was to Gamete, which is in the Clecho region, but had the opportunity to do a similar week of programming with students and teachers back a couple of years ago, and it really truly was a highlight. So I'm joining you from Calgary, also in Treaty 7 territory, or Mohkinstsis is the Blackfoot word for Calgary, which means elbow, because we're at the confluence of the Bow and Elbow rivers here. And you know, whether it's working with students here in Alberta, and I've been so warmly welcomed, especially in the schools in Tsuut'ina Nation, which is another Dene Nation a little further to the south, or in some of our Blackfoot Confederacy schools as well. I was actually a middle school teacher before coming to Everactive Schools and was next door neighbors to Tsuut'ina, but I very much fit the role of settler teacher and didn't know as much as I should have, and that learning still continues. And when it comes from the students, that's always the most impactful. So I remember one young gentleman, a high school student here up in Gamete, he was so engaged when he got to drive the snowmobile and set the cross-country ski tracks. But to see the pride he took in that and his connection to his community and the land, and then also to his school, was just really beautiful. And sport and recreation were at the heart of it. So wherever he is now, I sure hope that he is still loving getting others outdoors and active on the snow or ice, whatever he may be doing. So our organization, as Kim sort of introduced, we work closely with schools, but also we've worked with many after-school programs, and we're a part of many committees like Alberta Active After School and physical literacy and youth groups. So we develop a lot of resources, and we do offer programs, and hopefully they can be of use in both the school setting and beyond. So we just wanted to share a few of them, and we'd also like to extend an offer to anybody joining us on the conference and throughout that we're happy to give a small discount on some of our EAS resources for you. So yeah, we'll just share a few. we have a lot of sets of playing cards, and those are the ones we're going to show, or some of the ones we're going to show, because they're pretty transferable, they're easy to use, and right in your back pocket, and they all have that element of physical literacy. So our newest one is first here, and it's called the Outdoor Learning Quick Draw. So we've just released this one in the fall, knowing that a lot of teachers have been asked to teach outside, and it may not always be in their comfort zone to do so. So we've tried to, by creating some unique suits, give them lots of opportunities to do that. So of course we start with some physical literacy, but in a unique way that these are activities you could do right in the schoolyard that might spark some interest or build the skills towards more outdoor pursuits. So if you have a partner, you could try some hiking pole hurdles just for fun. Or this is another good one that you could do right in a phys ed class or for DPA, like a pack lift, and even just practicing some of those squats. On that, if anybody is keen to get up and move, here's a challenge for you. You can try a one-leg squat. You can either do it from seated or just come on up and see how low you can go on one foot. So there's 13 different ones there. They would make a great circuit. And then, as I said, it's to encourage familiarity being outside. So we have some outdoor skills as well. It's really built around Alberta's outdoor education program of studies. So relevant right now might be building a Quincy, or some of the skills and know how to do a bear hang. So this is great to give to students even to go practice. And one of my favorites to finish any outdoor activity is a gratitude circle. Again, when you give every student the opportunity to share, it can be really, really impactful. There's lots of cross-curricular opportunities too. I'm not going to show you every card, but we've got environmental action ones, and you can pull in learning in the arts, like how many colors can you find? If you get some of those paint tiles, or you can download them and send students out to match colors, make new names of their own. There's art and language arts there. And then science obviously provides a lot of great opportunities, but science and math, like an insect scavenger hunt or some water testing as it comes in. One of my favorites, I've tried it. So you give the kids some index cards and some petroleum jelly, and they put a grid on the card before they put the Vaseline all over it. And you hang them all around the school, put them near the bus loop if buses are coming towards your school, or near a parking lot, and maybe throughout the community. And you're watching for particulate matter in the air. So a great way to build in some of that active travel, even throughout the school day that we heard about in the last presentation, and just building in that idea of movement and also that care for the environment around us. And then just one more, we've got some of our favorite team builders as well. Flip the Tarp is a really fun one that you can do. All you need is a tarp and a group, and that's their challenge. They can't leave the tarp until it's flipped over. You could try that one tomorrow. And then even a quieter one too would be sending students out to do some sound mapping. So it really runs the gamut. Hopefully it's fairly self-explanatory with activities like that, but we'll start to publish more videos as it goes as well, and you can always connect with us. So yeah, that's one deck of cards. Another, and this one works really well in a classroom setting, but also has lots of potential to put into any program. So the social and emotional shuffle, Chessa developed this one, 52 different emotions. So it's every emotion you can think of. You could play 52 card pickup. We've got an example here. These are designed as great debrief tools after an activity, or some intentional teaching about our social and emotional competencies. For example, you could spread all the cards out around the room, read a scenario to students like, unfortunately, the wind chill is -30 today, so recess is going to be indoors, and then they choose the emotion that matches. So some may feel relieved, some might feel disappointed they need to belong in the polar bear club, so they go out no matter what. If they're really angry about it, like maybe we need to find them an outlet, like they might have some time in the gymnasium during that recess time, or they might be excited because they're going to get to meet with a friend from another class that they hadn't had the opportunity to yet, because we've integrated some really cool indoor activity options. So just a bit of a look and feel, but yeah, these sets of cards we've found you can teach through activity and use them to support activity.
So we always stay true to our name, and regardless of what our resources are and what we're presenting on, we do always try and incorporate some physical activity and some movement. Another resource that we wanted to share with you today, again, a really easy grab and go sort of resource. It is also a deck of cards. It's called our Shape Safari cards. So this deck of cards is designed to incorporate movement exploration through some yoga, but in a more secular way. We wanted it to be really accessible for all types of communities. So we've tied the movements and the breathing exercises to animals. And also the cards include several games, as well as movement cards that demonstrate or that show both the person doing it and then the animal expression, and give some directions for the leader, whether that's a teacher or a student or a program facilitator, just some cues to help people get into that. And then also, maybe not as relevant currently, but in future, hopefully we'll be able to touch our friends and work in partners in close proximity again. So there's also some fun partner challenges as well. So yeah, that is again meant to be a really easy grab and go one, and we'll try out a couple of those in a moment. The next resource we have here is our cold weather recess planning. We know, living in Canada, living in the north especially, that we are going to have those cold days, and that we have to balance that need for physical activity and that outdoor time with also the safety of our students and with our participants, and making sure that they're staying warm and staying safe. So we've created this free resource. This one can be downloaded from our store, which I've linked in the chat, and also is the link is shared at the bottom of this slide here. And it just shares some strategies for how we can make those cold weather indoor recesses, really meaningful. So a strategy with student leadership, a strategy with some different stations, and then Scott alluded to it earlier, but another strategy that was actually shared to us from an Alberta school here in Red Deer, called the Polar Bear Club. So parents or guardians were able to give students permission to go out to a colder temperature, based on the premise that they were dressed for that weather. So even though the district said, hey, -30 is when we go outside too, it might be slightly colder in the north because that's just your reality of those winter months. But the district said -30, but the parents have given permission to these students to go outside up to -40 on the basis that they've come to school with that gear that's going to keep them protected from the elements outside. So yeah, it's got lots of great student leadership activities and different ideas for indoor recess as well. Hand it back over to you here for a moment, Scott.
Awesome. And yeah, just know where we are in the afternoon. And as Chessa said, we like to practice what we preach. So we're going to invite you to try out a couple of our resources with us. And just before it leaves my head too, I just wanted to tie back to Dr. Vanderloo, your point about those policies as well. So in our work around recess, or when we've worked with student leader teams, that's something that we would encourage folks to look at in their schools. And so the comprehensive school health model that we use includes policies and healthy school policy. So yeah, I think that students can be great advocates as well for discussions like this, like how should indoor recesses be spent? Are there ways that we can create lots of different activity options? And even examining policies like, should we ever be withholding recess? And hopefully the answer to that one is no. But those are important conversations to have. But yeah, some of these resources, and always you can reach out to our team. We are happy to be background and maybe help students even to build their confidence to have those conversations in their communities. Okay, so we're going to give you a chance to get up and move and see what some of this would look like in the classroom. And we're actually going to share a couple that have worked well for us in the online setting right now. But yeah, hopefully, please send your questions through the chat. Hopefully some of these could be useful in whatever your setting may be, if it's a before or after school program or in sport and recreation too. So I'm going to need my screen first. The first one, we're going to use quick rock, paper, scissors. So I'll invite you to play along at home. And we're going to jump into that physical literacy suit a little more from the outdoor learning quick draw cards. So depending on how the round goes, if you beat me, then you'll get one card. If I beat you, you'll get a movement. And if we tie, then you get one. So every single person can play individually against me. And actually, this is a quick brain boost in the classroom too. Okay, so is everybody ready? The rules are rock, paper, scissors, go, okay? Rock, paper, scissors, go. Okay, I've got scissors here. So if you're a rock, you get to do some tuck jumps. So you could do it from standing too. So just gonna pull up your knees. If you're paper, excuse me, you're gonna do some toe and heel raises, okay? And if we tied, it's a squat and a knee hug. So you squat down low, pull up one knee and give it a hug, squat down low, and knee hug on the other side. And we'll just do 2 or 3. Okay, and how about one more round? Ready? Rock, paper, scissors, go. Okay, I've got rocks this time. So all our papers, you're gonna get to do some hip openers. So the knee just comes up, out, and down. Be a nice active stretch. If you were scissors, you're gonna do some hand to foot kicks, or if you want to do it seated, you could just stretch out one hand after the other. And if we tied, we can do a lunge with a twist. So we can even just put our hands out. We'll just do a lunge and twist both ways. Awesome. There's a tiny little boost of oxygen for you for your afternoon. I think Chess is going to take us through a couple of Shape Safari cards.
Thanks, Scott. Okay, so we've moved our bodies a little bit. Let's either do this next activity sitting or standing. I'm just going to share one of the movement cards with you. So this one is half moon. You can start by standing tall or sitting tall. Inhale to reach your hands up. See if you can touch your palms together. And if touching is challenging, you could interlace your fingers so they look more like this. And then we'll just gently bend over to one side. Gently bend over to the other. Come back through center. One more time, bend over. And then if you're standing, you could reach that opposite foot away from you up off the floor to challenge the balance a little bit. Nice. Come back through center, over to the other side. See if you can lift that opposite foot up a little bit, challenge your balance, and come on back. Nice. So sitting once again, we're going to do one more activity. This is a breathing activity called Queen Bee. You could keep your eyes open or closed depending on what makes you feel more comfortable in your space. We're going to take an inhale through the nose. So our lips closed, deep breath in through the nose, and then start to make a humming sound, just like a bumblebee floating around some flowers while you're breathing out. So inhale. Nice. So, and with students, and if you had a little bit more time to explore those cards, you could also try that breath while closing your ears or closing your eyes and exploring how that feels and how you experience that breath and that vibration in your throat when we start to close off some of our other senses. Obviously, we don't have a lot of time with you guys today, but we wanted to share some other ways that you can connect with us and learn about what Everactive Schools is up to. We are really proud of one of our newest offerings, the Pod Class. It's providing accessible content, great content that you can find easily and that you can listen to while you're walking or vacuuming or doing other parts of your wellness practices. So I will post the link to that because I'm not positive that you can click it. And there is a new podcast every month released. A second opportunity, if you want to come visit us in Alberta, we are headed to Kananaskis, which is a provincial park here in Alberta, for our Shaping the Future conference in April. So I will post a link to that if you are interested in a little bit more information. And then finally, a real easy one, you can sign up for our e-news, and that allows you to just get information, resources, updates, grant opportunities to your inbox, also once a month, sometimes twice a month, but we really do our best to make sure that those newsletters are intentional and we're not spamming and overloading your inbox. So I'm going to put that link in the chat as well. And yeah, at a very minimum, I really encourage you to get signed up for that newsletter and to stay in touch with us.